Ladies and gentlemen, today we are starting our updates here at Kenyan Media by devastating news about the former CJ David Maraga, who was arrested during the Nairobi National Park protest. Welcome to Kenyan Media, where we talk politics, we analyze, and also we give you news updates. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now, the former Chief Justice of Kenya, David Maraga, was reportedly arrested on Monday morning during a protest against a controversial plan to construct infrastructure within Nairobi National Park. According to the footage circulating online, Maraga was bundled into a police vehicle shortly after joining demonstrators opposing the proposed development project. The former Chief Justice had arrived at the park alongside members of his campaign team, who were also seen attempting to avoid a looming police crackdown near the park's entrance. The protest was organized by environmental activists and also conservation groups who argue that any new construction inside the protected wildlife habitat would undermine the conservation efforts and also further fragment one of the Kenya's most important ecosystems. Watch this video.
Long live the park! 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 Long live the park!
Demonstrators had gathered to voice their opposition and demand the protection of the park from what they describe as encroaching infrastructure projects. Videos obtained by the local media show Maraga and his supporters taking cover moments before police moved in to disperse protesters. Authorities had not immediately issued an official statement on the circumstances surrounding the alleged arrest or whether any charges could be preferred against the former Chief Justice. And in Kenya, the problem is the system that we are using to elect officials, because if it was that Kenyans are looking for someone to be the president of Kenya, then the former Chief Justice David Maraga is the right bet. Maraga is one person who has led that docket as the Chief Justice without being corrupted. Is one person who has declared publicly, in fact swearing by the name of God, that he has never taken or issued a bribe, involving even raising a Bible. We understand even the Kenyan judiciary, they believe the Quran and the Bible so much to an extent, when making a plea in a court we use the Bible, when making an oath, rather being sworn in an office, you lift your Bible where you believe in. If you believe you are a Muslim, whatever, you lift your Quran. If you are a Christian, you lift your Bible. So Maraga is a staunch Christian, an SDA member, in fact leader, and therefore he has never been linked with any. He has never been linked with any scandal in Kenya. So if Kenyans were to look for someone who is a straightforward, someone who can be the president and lead Kenya to the right direction, then David Maraga is the right person. Unfortunately, Kenyans love someone who has his own theatrics, someone who can play politics, someone who can convincingly lie to Kenyans, someone who can tell them what they want to hear. Among the people looking for presidency, we have David Maraga, we have Rigathi Gachagua, You understand, Rigathi Gachagua has been tainted so much with the corruption scandals even before William Ruto was in office. Yeah, so many things came and he was subjected to a lot of blames to an extent where some of his bank accounts were freezed or they were frozen in the past regime during Uhuru Kenyatta's leadership. And that tells you that even Rigathi Gachagua, in as much as he's pointing out on William Ruto that he's a thief, he's what, himself is not clean. Unless he comes out clean on all those deals and how he made his money. Yeah, when we talk about Kalonzo Musyoka equally is another person who does not have a scandal. Is another person who has not dirtied his hands in the national or the government coffers. Unfortunately, he has led before, and that is why many people seem to be disqualifying him, saying that someone who has led Kenya he should not be leading now. Someone who once served in Moi regime, in Moi leadership, should not again be entrusted with the duty to serve, because he had all the opportunities to change Kenya, but he did not. So why should he do that now? So many people disqualify Kalonzo Musyoka on those grounds, though equally he has zero scandals. When you talk about Fred Matiang'i, we have the Yala bodies that were found and is linked to the time he was internal security minister, and equally the Ruaraka land. And that land, many people are pointing fingers on Fred Matiang'i to an extent where Dennis Itumbi once started or rather fought with Matiang'i at courts, saying that he grabbed the land, tear gassed the innocent children because he had the intention of grabbing that land. Something that Fred Matiang'i does not come clear still, in as much as he's saying that he asks the government to conduct a public inquest so that they can be open, it can make the air or rather clear the air about the Ruaraka land and equally the Yala bodies that were found. And then when we talk about Edwin Sifuna, equally he's young, vibrant, he knows how to speak, he articulates so easily and resonates so well with the people, but many say he's too young to lead a country. So people are putting him down on grounds of age. So when you talk about the presidential candidates and aspirants, then David Maraga is the right bet, but because he doesn't talk with vigor, he doesn't talk with enthusiasm, is one politician who is not a politician, yeah? In as much as he wants to put himself in the gauge or the gauge of being a politician, indeed is not a politician. And Kenya does not love someone who is not a politician. Kenya doesn't want a leader. They want a politician. And therefore, if David Maraga was a politician, yeah, if he had a sweet mouth, if he knew how to articulate his words clearly, good English, and also know how to convince people, then it could be so easy for Kenyans to entrust him with the duty of leading Kenyans. And he has stood with many Kenyans since he was asked to, vie for president. And even he said that people should contribute and also facilitate his campaigns because he has nothing. That is according to him. He has been very honest. Even the contributions, he announces the amount of money people have been contributing from the US, from elsewhere. And when he realizes that someone else contributed money and it has brought a lot of issues, he refunds that money. That is the extent of how genuine and accountable David Maraga is. So he was arrested today when he was standing for the people and also wanting the government to go slow in the construction in that park. But we will be updating you on how the case will be handled, whether There are some charges that will be placed on him. And also let us see now that those lawyers, the likes of Babu Owino, who are in opposition, have been standing for those people who are arrested wrongly. Or we want to see if Babu Owino and the likes Eugene Wamalwa, Kalonzo Musyoka, they are also going to camp in court, if he will be presented in court, or they are going to stand with David Maraga, because equally is an activist, a political activist. I don't know what you think, but you can write a comment down there in the comment section. Let us talk, let us discuss. Perhaps it can form a basis of whatever we're gonna talk about in the next video. So if you're new here, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing our content.